The Mexican government dismissed statements by U.S. President Donald Trump about military intervention in the country. The World Health Organization has announced that its workforce will shrink by nearly a quarter, representing over 2,000 jobs by mid-next year. And in Palestine, thousands of children in Gaza face the risk of severe illness and even death due to the harsh conditions of the winter season. Hello and welcome to From the South, from the headquarters of teleSUR English in Havana, Cuba. My name is Pablo Micheliche. We begin with the news. Stay with us. The Mexican government dismissed statements by U.S. President Donald Trump about military intervention in the country. During her morning press conference, President Claudia Sheinbaum dismissed the statements made by her U.S. counterpart, assuring that they will not allow any type of foreign interference in the fight against criminal groups in the country. The president confirmed that in matters of security, the federal government will cooperate with the United States without subordination and with respect for territorial sovereignty. The Mexican head of the state mentioned that only Mexican security forces can operate within the territory.
In the conversations I have had with President Trump by phone, he has suggested on several occasions, or has said, we offer you military intervention by the United States and Mexico. Whatever you need to combat criminal groups. But I have told him on every occasion that we can collaborate, they can help us with the information they have, but we operate on our territory. We do not accept intervention from any foreign government. I have told them this by phone, we have said it through the State Department, with Marco Rubio, and they have understood.
Hundreds of protesters gathered in downtown Raleigh, North Carolina, to demonstrate against federal immigration enforcement actions in Charlotte and Raleigh. The protest denounces the expansion of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement campaign of repression in the state and the increase in racist and segregationist rhetoric by President Donald Trump. According to Mayor Janet Cowell, no information has been provided about the scope of the operation, when it will take place, or the number of agents involved, as immigration authorities have not said anything about the new raid. Federal officials have stated that the crackdown is aimed at curbing dangerous elements and reducing crime, although leaders in Raleigh and Charlotte have reported a decline in crime without federal intervention.
The bosses don't treat us right. The bosses don't.
The U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill Tuesday to compel the Justice Department to release all its records related to the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The measure, approved by an overwhelming majority of the House with only one vote against, got another push over the weekend when President Donald Trump reversed his position and urged Republicans to support it. Hours later, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer requested unanimous consent to pass the measure in the upper chamber. After the bill is sent to the Senate, it will go straight to President Donald Trump to be signed into law. According to the documents already released, Epstein socialized with other millionaires and celebrities such as President Trump, who attended his parties and took photos at social events. The Coordinating Bureau of the Non-Aligned Movements, through a communiqué, raised alarms over the dangerous military escalation unfolding in the Caribbean and against Venezuela. The communiqué refers the Coordinating Bureau of the Non-Aligned Movement while reaffirming the content of its communique of September 19, 2025, and the Special Declaration of October 16, 2025, expresses its deep concern at the continued escalation of tensions in the Caribbean region in light of an increased military build-up of extra-regional forces in the region that now includes, on top of assets with nuclear capability, the presence of the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford. The statement also reiterates the Coordinating Bureau of the Non-Aligned Movement calls upon extra-regional powers to exercise maximum restraint to avoid provocative statements as well as aggressive and inflammatory rhetoric, and to both cease any further hostile actions and desist once and for all from their irresponsible and reckless conduct, including the conduction of airstrikes against small fishermen boats in the Caribbean and now also the Pacific, and instead to resort to dialogue, diplomacy, and multilateral mechanisms as the only sustainable path for addressing through peaceful means and cooperation any issue of common interest or concern. And now we have a short break coming up, but first remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news update, and much more. We will be right back, stay with us. Welcome back. In Venezuela, President Nicolás Maduro highlighted the country's scientific development during the Science, Technology and Innovation Awards ceremony in Caracas. From the Teresa Carreño Theater, 137 scientists received special recognition as part of the 20th National Science, Technology and Innovation Awards, Dr. Humberto Fernández Moran, from President Nicolás Maduro. In this regard, the President affirmed that Venezuela has an organized and articulated scientific community of more than 60,000 top-level scientists. And on the other hand, the President emphasized that Venezuela is not thinking about manufacturing atomic bombs or weapons of mass destruction, but rather advancing the cure for different diseases, putting science at the service of life and the well-being of the people.
Today we have a scientific community that is articulated, organized from 67,000 scientific men and women of the first level in the world in Venezuelan territory.
Churches in Venezuela and the United States joined together in prayer for peace. Our National Prayer for Peace event was held at the Miraflores Palace, attended by President Nicolás Maduro, who emphasized the spiritual unity of Christian churches. During the event, the head of state greeted the evangelical congregations and their pastors, highlighting the role of churches as a source of strength for the nation. In this regard, the President recalled a letter sent by an American pastor who expressed support for joint prayers and concern about threats issued by the U.S. government. President Maduro emphasized that the purpose of the meeting is to reaffirm values of truth and life, as well as to strengthen the unity of the peoples around faith.
The evangelical and Christian churches are my refuge and strength in this time of tribulation for the nation. I called on them and they came to me. They called me and I have always been with you. We are more united than ever today, and I thank you, pastors, people of God and of Christ, for your spiritual support. It is the greatest of all. The spiritual power is the greatest power we can have. There is no other power that can do everything like spiritual power, which is the power of God.
Honduras records a drastic reduction in poverty, announced the National Institute of Statistics this Tuesday in Tegucigalpa. The director of the organization, Jose Eugenio Sosa, explained the comprehensive report that reflects the sustained decrease in poverty and unemployment in the Central American nation over the past 5 years. According to the Permanent Household Survey 2025, overall poverty fell by 73.6%, while extreme poverty decreased from 53.7% to 38.3%. Additionally, the study shows that the population above the poverty line has increased, reflecting a significant improvement in living conditions. The study also confirms that the workforce now totals 4.2 million people, and the unemployment rate has dropped to 4.9%. In El Salvador, the first court of instruction in San Miguel has reactivated the criminal proceedings against 4 former soldiers accused of their involvement in the death squads during the armed conflict. The accused are José de la Cruz Orellana and Ángel Alvarado Benítez, currently detained, as well as José Inés Benavides Martínez and Luis Alfonso Benavides, who remain on the process with substitute measures. The prosecution links them to the kidnapping, torture, and murder of 5 residents of the San Andrés canton in the center of the country in April 1981. The victims, Ángel Chávez, María Aguilar, José Benavides, Guillermo Magaña, and Rogelio de la Cruz were taken from their homes and later executed. It is important to note that this trial was scheduled for 2023 and has been postponed 4 times.
La Fiscalía General de la República espera la extracción de...
And we have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our Facebook page at teleSUR English. There you will be able to watch our top stories, special live coverage, and much more. Follow our page and activate the notification button to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. For a short break, don't go away. Welcome back. The World Health Organization has announced that its workforce will shrink by nearly a quarter, representing over 2,000 jobs by mid-next year. The organization is implementing reforms after its largest donor, the United States, announced its departure with the arrival of Donald Trump. It is important to highlight that Washington is by far the WHO biggest financial backer, contributing about 18% of its total funding. The WHO projects that its workforce will decrease by 2,371 positions by June 2026, down from 9,401 in January 2025, due to job cuts as well as retirements and voluntary departures. While the Global Health Agency stated in August that hundreds of staff had left, this is the first time it has provided the full scale of the expected changes to its global workforce. And in Palestine, thousands of children in Gaza face the risk of severe illness and even death due to the harsh conditions of the winter season. Ahmad Al-Hendawi, regional director of the organization Save the Children, reported that this Wednesday several families woke up submerged in wastewater after recent rains flooded their deteriorated tents. Over the weekend, more than 13,000 homes were affected, with an estimated of 700,000 children living in those households. In this regard, authorities pointed out that the rainwater and wastewater mixed due to the collapse of the sanitation system. On the other hand, the director of the organization reminded that in the last 2 winters, 40 children died from hypothermia and warned that this tragedy cannot be allowed to happen again. International organizations have warned that Sudan is experiencing an unprecedented crisis in which more than half of the population requires emergency humanitarian aid. The organizations pointed out that international humanitarian law is being violated in Sudan amid displacement and famine as a result of the conflict between the Sudanese armed forces and the paramilitary support forces. The Danish Refugee Council reported that during the escalation, arrests, kidnappings, and torture have been recorded in that country. It should be noted that currently the fighting is concentrated in the capital of Sudan, Khartoum, and in the Darfur region, which is under the control of the RSF. An Israeli bombing of a Palestinian refugee camp in the Lebanese city of Sidon leaves at least 13 dead and dozens injured. The information was provided by the Lebanese Ministry of Health, which said the number of deaths could still increase. According to local reports, the bombing racket targeted a parking lot inside the Ain al-Hiwet refugee camp in the city of Sudan. This incident is part of the almost daily exchange of fire on the Lebanese-Israeli border, as Israel's attacks have intensified, reaching densely populated areas far from the border. In China, the city of Guangzhou blends technology and tradition in its 2025 International Light Festival, one of the most important light spectacles in the world. Let's see.
Las noches de Guangzhou se visten de gala con el
The Knights of Guangzhou are dressed in elegance with the International Light Festival. This event, considered one of the most important of its kind in the world, transforms urban architecture into a canvas of dynamic art. More than 36 artistic installations illuminate iconic landmarks, using light to tell stories and highlight local culture. This year, the central figure capturing all the attention is the imposing Aoyu fish, a symbol that connects the festival with another major national event.
con otro gran evento nacional.
El Festival de la Luz de este año.
This year's Light Festival incorporates rich cultural elements from the Greater Bay Area of Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau. For example, among the most notable elements is the iconic Aoyu fish from the 15th National Games, the symbol of the event, mascots, traditional pavilions, banana leaves, and much more, allowing visitors to enjoy the dazzling lights while reliving wonderful memorable moments from the opening ceremony of the National Games.
La ceremonia de apertura de los Juegos Nacionales.
Esta imponente criatura de 27 metros de largo.
This imposing creature, 27 meters long and 7 meters high, became the star of the opening ceremony of the 15th National Games. Its graceful movement and ethereal design captivated the audience immediately, becoming a viral phenomenon on the country's social media. With its dragon head and fish body, the Aoyu is more than just a piece of art. It is a powerful symbol of traditional Chinese culture, representing perseverance, transformation, and the achievement of greatness through effort.
Y el alcance de la grandeza a través del esfuerzo.
El diseño de este pez Aoyu
The
difiere.
design of this Aoyu fish slightly differs from its traditional counterparts. While the dragon head and fish body are retained, we have made a special modification to the tail, incorporating the large tail of the phoenix carp. The fins and body are inspired by the arowana fish to achieve a more attractive appearance with a more vibrant Lingnan color, taking the rich coloration of the Lingnan shoal to the extreme.
La rica colaboración del cardumen lignan.
El Festival Internacional de Luces.
The International Light Festival is not an isolated event. It works in conjunction with the National Games and the Garden Expo to project a unified image of the cultural vitality and development of the region. In this way, just as the Aoyu fish symbolizes individual transformation, these events showcase the metamorphosis of Guangzhou as a global center of innovation and tradition.
With that story, we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net, and you can also join us on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For Telesur English, my name is Pablo Michelice. Thank you for watching.